March 18, 1937. It began like any other school day. Students filled their classrooms, teachers prepared lessons, parents went about their routines, believing their children would return home that afternoon. But within seconds, everything would change. A massive explosion ripped through a school building in East Texas, turning classrooms into rubble and trapping hundreds of students and teachers beneath the debris. By the time the dust settled, nearly 300 people were dead. To this day, it remains the deadliest school disaster in American history. Yet despite the staggering loss of life, most Americans have never heard of it. How could one of the worst school tragedies ever recorded fade from public memory? To answer that question, we have to travel back to a booming Texas oil town called New London, where prosperity, ambition, and one invisible danger were about to collide. In the mid-1930s, New London was a small town in East Texas that seemed to embody the American dream. Just a few years earlier, the discovery of vast oil reserves had transformed the region almost overnight. What had once been quiet farmland suddenly became one of the most prosperous areas in the state. Oil derricks stretched across the landscape, pumping wealth from deep beneath the earth. Money flowed into the community at a remarkable pace. New businesses appeared, roads improved. Families who had once struggled now found themselves benefiting from the area's booming economy. The pride of the town was its school. Built with funds generated by the oil boom, the New London School was considered one of the finest educational facilities in Texas. The large brick building stood as a symbol of progress and opportunity. Its modern classrooms, spacious hallways, and impressive facilities reflected the optimism that defined the community. For parents, the school represented a brighter future for their children. Each morning, hundreds of students walked through its doors, carrying books, sharing stories with friends, and thinking about little more than classes, sports, and what they would do after school. Teachers worked to prepare lessons, believing they were helping shape the next generation of a thriving town. To the people of New London, life felt secure. The town was growing. Businesses were thriving. Families were building better lives. And at the center of it all stood a school that seemed destined to serve the community for generations. No one could have imagined that hidden within those walls was a danger no one could see, a danger that was growing stronger with every passing day. But beneath New London's prosperity, a hidden threat was quietly taking shape. Like many schools of the era, the New London School relied on natural gas for heating. During the harsh winter months, keeping such a large building warm was expensive. Even for a wealthy school district, fuel costs could add up quickly. At first, the school purchased gas through normal channels, but in the middle of East Texas's oil boom, natural gas seemed to be everywhere. Oil companies operating in the region often viewed excess natural gas as little more than a byproduct. In many cases, it was simply burned off into the air. To some local officials, it appeared that an opportunity was being wasted. Seeking to reduce expenses, school administrators approved a decision that seemed practical at the time. Instead of purchasing gas from a commercial supplier, the school connected its heating system to a nearby residue gas line connected to the area's oil operations. The move saved money. No one expected it to create a deadly hazard. What the school officials did not realize was that the piping system was vulnerable to leaks. Over time, natural gas began escaping from the line, and seeping into enclosed spaces beneath the massive school building. And there was one critical problem. Natural gas in 1937 was odorless. Today, even the smallest leak can often be detected by its distinctive smell. But at the time, natural gas carried no warning scent. It was completely invisible, completely silent. No alarms sounded. No strange odors raised concern. No one walking through the hallways had any reason to suspect danger. Day after day, gas slowly accumulated beneath the school. Students continued attending classes. Teachers continued giving lessons. Parents continued sending their children off each morning, confident they would return home safely. Meanwhile, beneath their feet, an explosive cloud was growing larger. With every passing hour, the school was becoming a ticking time bomb, and no one knew it. March 18th, 1937, began like any other day. Hundreds of students filled the classrooms of New London School. Teachers taught lessons. Students focused on assignments. The final bell was less than an hour away. Beneath the building, however, a massive pocket of natural gas had been silently accumulating. At approximately 3:17 p.m., a spark, likely from an electric sander in a shop class, ignited the gas. The explosion was instantaneous. A powerful blast ripped through the school, lifting parts of the structure from their foundations before collapsing them into a mountain of rubble. Witnesses miles away heard the explosion. Inside the building, students and teachers were thrown from their seats as walls, ceilings, and floors gave way around them. Within seconds, classrooms that had been filled with conversation and learning were reduced to chaos. A massive cloud of dust rose over the town. Then came the screams. Parents rushed toward the school as news spread through the community. Many arrived to find the building almost completely destroyed. Rescue efforts began immediately. Oil field workers, volunteers, doctors, and local residents searched desperately through the wreckage for survivors. Some were pulled from the debris alive. Many were not. As the hours passed, the true scale of the disaster became clear. Nearly 300 people had been killed. In a matter of seconds, New London School had become the site of the deadliest school disaster in American history. The tragedy at New London did more than devastate a community. It changed America. As investigators searched for answers, one fact stood out above all others. The natural gas that had accumulated beneath the school was completely odorless. There had been no warning signs, no strange smell, no way for students, teachers, or staff to know the danger was growing beneath their feet. In the months that followed, Texas officials moved quickly to prevent a similar disaster from ever happening again. New safety regulations were introduced. Stricter standards were established for the installation and inspection of gas systems. Engineers and technicians were required to receive proper licensing and training. But perhaps the most important change was one that millions of people encounter every day without even realizing it. Before the New London disaster, natural gas had no warning odor. After the explosion, gas companies began adding strong-smelling chemicals to natural gas, making leaks easier to detect before they became deadly. That familiar rotten egg smell many people recognize today exists because of lessons learned from this tragedy. Nearly 300 lives were lost on March 18, 1937, yet their legacy lives on in homes, schools, and buildings across America, helping protect countless people from similar disasters. Today, the name New London is largely forgotten outside of Texas, but its impact is not. One ordinary school day ended in unimaginable tragedy, and in doing so, changed safety standards for generations to come.